But me, your man, Louie Tee, welcome to the 2017 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series, your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names of the 2017 NFL Draft. We're talking running backs, and this is another Big 12 alum that we're going to talk about today, and a guy that just had his pro day, lit it up after not being able to perform at the combine due to a stress fracture. So he had a lot to prove and a lot to gain by going out and performing well, and that he did. And so I thought he deserved to have his tape broken down here on the program. I'm talking about Texas running back D'Onta Foreman. So we'll talk about D'Onta Foreman and what he brings to the table, because he brings a little something different that these other backs don't, and that's his size. And we'll talk about all of those things and more in his breakdown. We'll start first, though, with his pros. So when I think about D'Onta Foreman and the historic season that he put forth, rushing for over 2,000 yards at Texas this year, just falling short of Ricky Williams' Texas school record for most rushing yards in a season. The first thing I look at with him is the running back holy trinity, and there's only one other player in this draft that possesses that same moniker for me, and that's Leonard Fournette, of size, speed, and power. And, you know, that's one of those things where you just either got it or you don't. I mean, most guys in his frame at 6 foot, 237 pounds aren't running sub 4.5 40s, okay? And whether that's a legit 4.45 or a 4.47 or a 4.5 flat is anybody's guess. Who cares? He's 6 feet 240 essentially, and we're talking about a guy that runs in the sub 4.5 range, which is asinine. And this is a big man here, and he runs with a level of physicality, which is his next pro, and I'll go ahead and lump it in now. A level of physicality that allows him to bowl over defenders. He's got this forward lean to him when he runs, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. He's very physical. It's 4th and 1. You feel comfortable handing this big mammoth man the football and asking him to get you a yard. But yet, if there's a crease and he's able to penetrate that initial wave of defenders, look out, this guy's running for, and you see it on tape. Like, I was expecting him to be slow, to be plodding, and this is a guy that is picking them up and putting them down, outrunning defenders. Texas Tech, oh my God. I hate mentioning Texas Tech because everyone has a career day against Texas Tech, and he's no different. He ran for over 339 yards against Texas Tech. You know, it's just one of those situations where you look at his stats and you watch the games, and there's some big runs in there, man. Like, he's one of these guys that'll hit you for 4, for 1, for 2, for 6, and then boom, 59 and a touchdown. And if you look at a lot of his big games, that combination of size, power, and speed in that frame is what got him to over 2,000 yards on the season. You go to his next pro, and he's a yakster. And he's a yakster in a different way. And I want to talk about forward lean as well. So go ahead and put that in there. And I want to talk about those two things with him right now. He's a yakster, but not in the sense of a Dalvin Cook who can make you miss out in space, or a Kamara who is really physically built upstairs and can shrug off guys, or a McCaffrey who's just really athletic, you know, kind of joystickish, where he can stop and start really quickly, jump over a defender. He's not even in the Fournette category when we're talking about yards after contact, where Fournette can just run over a guy and without losing stride. He's not like that. He doesn't possess the type of balance that I would like to see him have. I think he's a guy that you can get on the ground fairly easy. He's going to make you pay, obviously, because he's such a big guy. And so, you know, if you're willing to put your body in the way of that Mack truck, you can get him on the ground, but you're also going to give up a yard or two with that forward lean. But I think his best attribute as a youngster is when he's able to get through that first wave of defenders, and there's that one last guy that's got a shot to get him, and he tries to clip him by the ankles. He's able to kind of somehow click his ankles together, but stay on his feet and take off running. And so, you know, a lot of big guys, you get that ankle, you're going to get them down on the ground. They're not going to be able to withstand that. But he's able to somehow stay on it. If you go after his ankles, he does a really good job of staying on his feet. But if you're able to get to the thigh pad, you're able to get him upstairs, you're usually able to get him on the ground. He doesn't have the type of balance that I would like to see him have. But again, he's a big man, big frame. So I'm able to overlook it if you are. So you move on to his next pro. He's a workhorse. All right. In 2016, the man had 330 touches, 323 of them coming on the ground via rushing the football. So this is a guy that you can say, hey, look, man, put it on my back. And that's exactly what they did at Texas. They didn't trust either one of the quarterbacks in Buechele or Tyrone Swoops. So they just asked this guy to go win them football games. He was able to do it sometimes, wasn't able to do it in other situations. They struggled on the road last year in Texas. But nonetheless, this guy, there was one game, and I want to say it was the Texas Tech game. This man had 51 carries in one game. Are you crazy or just stupid? I mean, that is asinine. So this is a guy that is a workhorse. You can put the load on his shoulders in terms of carries, and he'll be able to go out and perform for you. They did it at Texas last year. So he's a guy that does have the ability to be a workhorse if need be and necessary. Heavy 2016 production is the final pro. I just told you he had 323 carries. That amounted to 2,028 yards and 15 touchdowns. So he was extremely busy. And like I said, when you watch some of his games, you see that he's got 250 yards rushing. You know, you see that he's got 336 yards rushing. You see that he's got 178 yards rushing. Every single game that he played start to finish, he went over 100 yards. As a matter of fact, every game that he played in this season, he went over 100 yards. And most of them 150 or better. So, I mean, you don't get to 2,000 yards by having a 78-yard game followed by a 112-yard game. You're putting up numbers week in and week out, and that's what Foreman did. But that being said, there weren't a lot of, you know, chunk plays, 12 and 16, and like you would think you would have when a guy goes 17 carries for $184 and a touch. There's a 2, a 4, a 6, a 1, a 8, a 1, a 6, a 4, and then he hits you for 77. And that's how he got the bulk of his yardage. So there are a lot of big runs in there, but when you have the kind of speed that this guy has with the size and that whole package, you get those types of plays. So the production was heavy in 2016. So we go from those pros to some cons, and there are a number of things that irk me with Foreman. Some things that you need to be aware of. Let's jump into his cons. So the first thing that jumps off the screen at me with him is he is not, I repeat, not a 3-down back. And that's a little disconcerting. And not from a pass catching standpoint, because I think he can catch. I don't have a problem with his ability to catch the football. They just didn't throw it to him a ton at Texas. That's fine. I don't care about that. His pass pro is an utter and absolute embarrassment. Okay? It is a joke. When you watch him try to protect the quarterback, it is like a guy, he is literally like a guy that is 150 pounds out there at the mercy of the defense. Like, you can't even tell that this is the same guy that's toting the rock, because it's night and day. It is not the same mentality, and I don't know why. I can't explain it, but he wants no part of pass protection whatsoever. It is an atrocity when you watch this man try to protect the quarterback. I cringe every time he is back there one-on-one with the defender. I'm like, hey, you better get rid of the football. Not now, like right now, because this guy is not going to give you the time that you need to get rid of the football if you don't throw it like yesterday. 1 year wonder, okay? He had an outstanding 2016, but what happened in 2015? I'll give you a pass in 2014 where you were a freshman and, you know, there were other guys in front of you. Okay, fine. But what about 2015 where there was no one, and I mean no one, to speak of that should have been able to keep you off the field from going out and lighting it up? And he dealt with some injuries. I understand all of those things, but it doesn't matter. I just didn't feel like he took literally, and I mean this is a pun intended, he did not take that position by the horns, okay? Chris Warren III was on the team. He should have been out there being the guy in 2015, and he simply wasn't. So 1 year of production. Does that scare you? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you could look at it like a guy that doesn't have a lot of tread off the tires. Hey, I'm not here to judge, but I'm just here to tell you, 1 year of production, I'm a little worried about this guy being able to stay healthy, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But what about ball security? This is a guy that fumbled 6 times. Count them, 6 times last season in 2016. Now, you listen to some people talk and they'll tell you, well, he had an injury to his hand that he didn't disclose, but he played with it all season, and that had to do and that attributed to all of the fumbles. Look, you can tell me whatever the hell you want. If you're healthy enough to play and you're going to gut it out, then don't fumble the football. I don't want to hear any excuses. Hold on to the goddamn ball. End of discussion. Simple as that. He fumbled 6 times and he lost 5 of them, and they were critical fumbles. And there was a 3-week stretch towards the end of the season where he fumbled 3 weeks straight, 4 fumbles. 2 against Kansas. I watched both of those fumbles. One of them costly at the very end that helped them lose that game in overtime, 24-21. So ball security issues, folks. It's real. Now, again, maybe the injury had something to do with it. Maybe it didn't. I don't care. Hold on to the rock. End of discussion. Didn't play in a pro-style offense at Texas. Straight spread all day long. Nothing under the center. Much like Joe Mixon at Oklahoma. You play in the Big 12. That's a knock on you as well. That's a demerit because you played in a conference. So I'm not disrespecting his 2028 in terms of yards going over 2,000, but you played in the Big 12, bro. Okay, you got to play Kansas. You got to play Texas Tech. You got to play TCU. You got to play Baylor. The only team that plays defense in the Big 12 is West Virginia. And so I really don't respect all of what was done, but nonetheless, didn't play in a pro-style offense, and he played in the Big 12. Do with that what you please. Just had to go ahead and mention that for you. And finally, the biggest con of them all, extensive injury history. This is a guy that has dealt with injuries since he set foot on the Texas campus. 2014, he dealt with a hand injury that required surgery. Did not finish the season. Okay, move on to 2015. Dealt with a pinky injury that required surgery yet again, and also dealt with a toe injury that cost him a game or 2 in 2015. So you're talking about more injuries. So we go to 2016. We fast track to his big 323 carry, 2,028 yard, 15 touchdown season. And what do you find? More injuries. His pinky, yet again, for the 3rd season in a row, he's got something wrong with his hand. You go to his abdomen. I watched him against Oklahoma State run, turn the corner, and just slide down on the ground, writhing in pain, grabbing his abdomen. He doesn't finish that game. He didn't miss any games afterwards, but that's weird. So he had an abdomen injury. Then I told you that he didn't participate at the combine because of a stress fracture. So this is a guy that, look, he's big, he's fast, he's strong, he's everything you're looking for if you need a big power back. okay, that can still scoot. But just know that that Carfax has a bunch of stuff on it, okay? Just know that that Carfax has a little extensive history on it, and you need to know what you're getting yourself into. You need to know what you're signing up for. If you're looking for a big back, this guy is exactly what the doctor ordered. Just know you better have some stuff behind him, because it may not be long before we're talking about a pinky injury or a hand injury or a toe injury or an abdomen injury or a knee injury, and this guy's gonna miss 2 or 3 weeks, and you're gonna need someone to fill in for you. So just know what you're getting yourself into with D'Onta Foreman. But this guy is big, he's fast, he's physical, he's legit, but he just comes with a few extra things that you may not want to deal with. So just keep that in mind. But in any event, that's D'Onta Foreman and his 2017 NFL Draft Prospects 101 breakdown. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie Tee Network. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. We're going to switch gears. We're going to go to some pass catchers, man. My favorite position, the wide receivers. See what we got to offer in this draft. And so we'll be talking about those guys coming up. So that should be fun. You want to see D'Onta Foreman or any of the other guys I've broken down in this series, or maybe guys in the future that'll be broken down. You want to see me break down their tape in front of you. All you have to do is 1,000 views and 100 likes in conjunction with one another. You make that happen, I will make it happen. Have a good one. Enjoy the content. Keep watching. See you next time. Whether you're looking for more great content or more of me, your man, Louie Tee, follow, like, and subscribe to the following social media platforms of mine.